Hello, everyone, and welcome to another fact of the day. Can you name this bird? And it makes this call. Okay, sorry if the sound's not so good. I am going to get a new computer. This one's kind of past it. It doesn't record that well, but you get the idea. Um, the clue is in the name. It is a cuckoo. A cuckoo. So, what can we learn about the cuckoo? I absolutely love cuckoos. I love hearing them. You tend to start to hear them in spring. I've heard them. I've seen them down at the croft this year. Quite not so common to see them. Very common to hear them, but not so common to see them. So, what cool things can we learn? Well, one of the most interesting and one of the most famous things about a cuckoo, and it's a very fancy term coming up here. It is a brood parasite. A brood parasite. Doesn't sound good, but what does that mean? Well, it means that they don't make their own nests and they don't rear their own young. They don't rear their chicks, they don't raise them. So if they don't make a nest and they don't raise their own young, then what on earth do they do? Well, the female lays her eggs in other nests, in the nests of other birds, and gets them to do all the hard work for them. A female will watch. She'll watch these birds carefully and she'll wait for her moment. She'll maybe watch them for days and she'll wait for her moment. She'll swoop in at the right moment. She'll lay one egg in the nest and then she'll go off and find another one. And she could lay many, many eggs, between, maybe over 10 eggs in all different nests. Let's have a wee look here. So here's an example. Now, they'll do their best to replicate, which means to make the eggs look the same as the other ones. It should be quite obvious here which one is the cuckoo egg. It's the big one at the top. But if you were a small bird, you might not notice. And more often than not, they don't notice. They sit on the nest, and next minute they've got a baby cuckoo, and they'll raise the baby cuckoo. Let's have another one. Here's another picture. Now, this is very obvious which one is the cuckoo egg, and sometimes the birds will notice, hey, wait a minute, that's not my egg. I didn't lay that. And they'll chuck the egg out of the nest. So the cuckoos try their best to pick the right nests and the right birds so their eggs will match, a bit like this one here. Um, you can tell on the right here that this cuckoo is perhaps not the same breed of bird as its parent there. It's massive and it's not even nearly fully grown yet. You'd think that the little birds would get suspicious, but they don't. They just treat them as their own, and they will feed them and raise them. I think this is a reed warbler, which is a very common bird. Here's its nest, so the egg's pretty well camouflaged there, isn't it? The cuckoos will try and time it so that their egg is the first to hatch. And quite often, the little chick that hatches will then remove the other eggs from the nest so it will get all the food. So that's another reason why that cuckoo will watch the nest. She'll try and time it right so her egg will hatch first. And as you can see in the nest, there's only really room for one bird, the massive cuckoo. Here is a great picture. That is a dunnock feeding its chick, which is not a baby dunnock at all. It is a baby cuckoo, which is it's an amazing picture, really. It's absolutely amazing. So this is how cuckoos do it. They lay their eggs in the nests of other birds and get them to do all the work for them, which is amazing. Amazing. Brood parasites, that's what they are. And there's lots of other birds that do it, but the cuckoo is the most famous one that does it. So, where does the cuckoo live? Well, I've got this cool map here. They live where the green and the blue is, so here we are. So you'll get them all over the country. all over the country. They're up here. I've seen about 3 different cuckoos up here this year, but I guarantee there's more around here. I've just not seen them. They're all over Europe, all over Asia, so they're spread over quite a big area. But why is this bit in blue in Africa here, and there's a bit over here in South Asia? Why is it in blue? Can you take a guess? Well, it's because this in blue is where they live in winter. In winter. What? What do you mean? Why do they live in? Why do they go to Africa for winter? Have a think. Why do they go to Africa for winter? Well, in this country, it gets cold in winter, and indeed all over this green area, it'll get cold in winter. And the cuckoo likes to eat insects. Its favorite food is actually the yummy caterpillar. Yum, yum, yum. But you'll not find many of these in this country in winter. So it has to go somewhere else during winter so it can have food. And, it gets pretty cold, which the cuckoo doesn't like either. So it flies all the way to Africa every year. So soon, sort of towards the end of summer, all the cuckoos will leave. You'll not hear them at all, and they'll all leave for Africa, and they will come back in spring. In fact, they'll spend most of their lives in Africa. They just come up here during a bit of spring and a bit of summer. And so it's quite often a sign of spring. If you hear the cuckoo, that means spring is here, summer is on its way. Let me introduce you to Carlton II, a male cuckoo. And you can see on his back here, he's been given a high-tech satellite tag. It doesn't hurt him at all. It's very lightweight. It doesn't affect his flying or his hunting because he survived. He survived it for enough years, so it doesn't hurt them at all. He's called Carlton II because he's the second cuckoo to be ringed at a place called Carlton Marshes down in England. Because they wanted to, the thing is about cuckoos is their numbers are declining, they're going down. We're losing the cuckoos. Why? So they decided to track them and see, is there any problems during their migration? Is there any problems over in Africa? So it's very important scientific work. Now, this guy, Carlton II, he broke the record for the fastest time to get from Africa to Britain. He flew 4,677 miles in just 1 week, in 7 days. Over 4,500 miles he flew in just 1 week. It usually takes cuckoos between 2 or 3 weeks, and in fact, most birds. He's done it even faster than swifts have done it, which are very, very fast. Some swifts, they're just born to fly. They don't land for 7 years. Sometimes swifts, they're very, very fast. So anyway, let's see his tracking. So this is exactly where he flew. So they tagged him. They put the satellite tracker on him up here in Britain. He flew over the English Channel, over a bit of France, over a bit of the Atlantic, over Spain, went across this tiny little bit here called the Straits of Gibraltar. And then he had to fly over the Sahara Desert for hundreds of miles. Can you imagine that? And then he took a quick detour this way and ended up at his destination, a country called Gabon in Africa, where he would have stayed for all of the winter. And then he actually broke the record coming back. So this, coming back up, is over 4,500 miles. He flew all that by himself in just over a week. And it's not easy. It's not easy at all. I mean, they have to deal with all sorts of things. High winds, ferocious thunderstorms, big sea crossings. I mean, cuckoos can't swim. So if he gets caught out in a storm or wind and he ends up in the water, he's a goner. So there's a lot of things, a lot of dangers on this trip that could go wrong. So it's not easy, and they have to do this, every year. Quite incredible. So there you go. That is Carlton the second. What a trip that is. So next time you hear a cuckoo, just think, in a few months he'll be having to do that trip. He'll be having to fly over 4,000 miles to get to their wintering ground. Flying over this Sahara desert. Can you imagine just seeing, or imagine being a cuckoo and having to fly hundreds of miles over this? I mean, there's no caterpillars or food or water. You just have to keep going until you get to your winter home. This is a picture I found of a bit in Gabon. So there you go. There's your fact of the day about cuckoos, that they lay their eggs in other birds' nests. And Carlton II broke their record. So there you go. There's a few things. I hope you enjoyed that one, and we'll see you next time. Bye.